Hey, I'm Jay Kumar, the BassBlaster, and this is your Seafoam Top 5 of the Week in Bass Fishing. Number 1. A new $300,000 jackpot tournament? Yep, if a guy named Alan Brooks gets 200 guys to pony up the $5,000 entry fee. This kind of came out of nowhere, but not for Alan. Alan's a successful tech exec who's been fishing the Bassmaster Opens for years, and he's been kicking around this idea for a while. The whole reason for it is he says he wants a tournament format that he wants to fish.
It's just an idea. It's an idea to see if the market speaks. We want to see if there are 200 anglers that are interested in a high-level competition that kind of levels the playing field as much as humanly possible, I think. This first tournament is going to be a pot tournament. It's going to be a $300,000 first prize pot tournament. We're not going to bring any frills.
Now, levels the field is a reference to the fact that he will not allow any forward-facing sonar or Mega 360 in this tournament. He has both on his boat, but he told me he wants the guys fishing his tournament to rely more on their ADD bank-beating fishing instincts. No doubt a lot of guys would like to see that and fish that, and he says he has almost half the guys or 100 guys signed up or committed already, including some really big names. There's a lot more to it if it happens, but the bottom line is he wants to hold one of these mega pot tournaments this year. And the organization called the Touring Anglers Association is non-profit because Alan says he wants to send a message out there that this is not about money, which he says he does not need. He also said he has no aspiration to make it or create a new pro tour.
I don't ever plan on this being a professional tournament organization. This is somewhere between a cross of a bass club, a pot tournament, and the World Series of Poker.
The last thing I'll mention is he says it'll be boldly Christian, which I think is great. And hey man, it's a dark world. We need more light in it. Let's see what happens, man. I mean, if Mike Tyson can sing about being a happy bumblebee, anything can happen. Number 2. If you like forward-facing sonar, you're like this.
This is the way.
This is the way.
If not, you're like this. But if you are part Mandalorian or at least interested in forward-facing sonar, check this out. That unit to the right of the foot pedal. It's not a coffee warmer or an updated version of that Simon game or an easy button. It's the new and not out yet Revolution Sonar forward-facing sonar transducer foot controller, which is a lot of words basically saying that that thing can move your transducer independently of your trolling motor shaft. It was invented by this guy, Paul Bird, who's just a regular old bass fisherman. Paul was just bent on solving a problem that he noticed the first time he ever used live scope, which was that he felt that the transducer had to move independently from the trolling motor. Now, he tried all kinds of stuff with different motors and hands and shafts and electronics and you name it, and he came up with this. This Revolution Sonar foot controller can do all kinds of stuff like this and this and this. Now, to enable all this, he has what I believe is a carbon fiber coaxial shaft that goes around the trolling motor shaft. The transducer mounts to it, but it operates or rotates independently of the trolling motor shaft, although you can make it operate in the same direction as the trolling motor. There's a lot more to it. It should be available in the first quarter of next year, and yep, it'll cost a couple grand. Seems like everything with sonar costs a couple grand now. But there may be a way you can get it cheaper from these guys. Number 3. What the heck is this deal? It reminds me of a toupee or maybe a spaghetti and meatball sub Or those Simpson aliens.
But what are you going to do about it?
Whatever it is, it's only available in Japan, and I believe it started off as a joke. But then a guy won a tournament on it. A guy on the Japanese site Lure News said he was skeptical, like we all would be, but he finally tied one on, chucked it out there, and a bass swam under it and slurped it down. Will it be sold over there? Sounds like it, even though I really don't even know what the name of this thing is. Will it be sold here? Who knows, but props to our favorite fish. They'll bite anything. And if we ever do get that alien invasion, they better not be aquatic and small, because if they are, they're toast. Number 4. David Fritts called it quits. Of course, we all know David, one of the legends of the sport and a Bass Hall of Famer, no doubt. He had been fishing the Bassmaster Elite Series through the Legends exemption, but recently called it quits. He mentioned some health issues and probably his age and the grind just was too much for him. Whether you remember him for his 1993 Bassmaster Classic win, and by the way, he also shortly thereafter won the FLW Forest Wood Cup, which is pretty dang stout. Or you just remember him for being a really nice guy who's like a 100th degree black belt in crankbait fishing. Or you remember him as a guy who designs a heck of a crankbait. Some of the best mass-produced crankbaits ever made. Whatever, it doesn't matter, he's all that and more. Man, we're lucky to have seen him fished and learned from him. He had a bunch of wins and top finishes in both tours, including those 2 championships, but no doubt he is best known for taking crankbait fishing to a whole new level. It was a level that him and some other guys from North Carolina knew about and brought it to the rest of us through the pages of Bassmaster magazine, the old Bassmasters TV show, and now on the Elite Series. If you remember, David was always sitting down when he was crankbait fishing, and he would find structure like stumps by fishing and then line the stuff up on the bank before there were electronics. Then he fell in love with a flasher, which he was still running on his boat right up until he retired, and he probably still has it there. So all that hard-won knowledge started coming out in baits. First, he designed baits for Pose, which were his favorite crankbaits at the time. Then he helped design the Rapala DT or Dives 2 series, which are still some of the best bass fishing crankbaits ever. And lately he's been helping Berkeley design some really great crankbaits, including the Dredger, which is low-key one of the greatest crankbaits you might not know about or have fished. And of course the Fritts side. Thank you for all those years, David. We love you, man. And keep cranking out those baits. Number 5.
Wind the frog.
Hey, hold on there, Woody. Before we wind that frog, we need to doctor it up first. Check out this interesting stuff from MLF fisherman Mitch Crane from Mississippi, who is a die-hard frog nut. First, he trims 1 inch off each leg, not to make it walk better, but so that it lays flatter. He also thins the legs, taking out about 4 or 5 strands on each side, and he says that helps it walk almost in place. Lastly, he says he doesn't like bright legs because he wants the bass to be focused 100% on the body of the frog. So he'll pluck those colored strands out. I really like that one. Great tips from a froggy dude, but just remember, some frogs don't like you messing with them.
Frogs is coming.
That's all I got for you this week. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Seafoam. Go to BassBlaster.com or .rocks to sign up for the juicy BassBlaster email. See you next week. God bless you.